Hello, I'm Corporate Zombie, and if you follow my channel, you may be aware that I am fairly into computer pinball, and I've made a pinball controller in the past, and I did a video about it. But it was enormous. It was this. So it had a actual arcade pinball shooter, and the way that worked was I used a physical method to pull back the analog stick of a Xbox controller. There were some buttons on the thing, and this was like my effectively Mark 1 version, and I had this inertia based system for doing the nudge, and then it was just wired the buttons up to the Xbox controller, and that was it. But it's enormous, right? It's enormous. So my plan for this video is to show how I can use another pinball controller, this linear potentiometer, a 4.7 kilo ohm resistor, and another default donor, I should say, another donor Xbox controller to make a much smaller pinball controller that looks like this, built into a box file. So yeah, this is the Mark II version, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be making this fella. Yeah, so that is it at the end of the track, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this. If I pull that back to where its resting position will be, that'll be where it's sitting normally. I've just added to the drawing. This is where the plunger is going to be. That's the compression spring. This is the front plate. This is the thickness. I'm going to put it into a box file. This is the thickness of the front of the box file. So the front plate of the sheet is going to be in front of the box file. Then there'll be the box file. This is the thread length for the shooter support shaft. So you see that's as far as it comes. So the nut has to come on here. So there needs to be room at least to get the nut on to the first part of the thread. So I need some wood, reinforcement thickness of about this, and then you have like a washer, and then the nut needs to go on the thread to hold the whole thing in place. So yeah, we're looking at like a hopefully this kind of Conti board is the right kind of thickness. How thick is that? Just add that there. There's going to be a little bit, not actually a lot of thread room. Not much room for thread because then the nut's pretty thick. So I don't know if that's going to leave much room for washers on the side of the box file. I might have to recess a bit into whatever this is. I'm thinking that rather than try and make a two-piece wooden frame for this, that I'd make it in one solid piece of wood, and this is like a 2x2 chunk. It's a bit too slightly too tall for the box file, so I'll have to cut a bit of it off, but get it to do so. Basically take that and then run this across all the way to here and then cut it off, so to get like an L-shaped bracket made of wood, and then maybe leave like these two bits raised so that the electronics on the bottom of this, or the protruding electronics, have somewhere to go. So come across there, come down here, then come across, down a bit, pull the electronics back up a bit and then cut it off there. So actually it'll be like this. Actually it'll be like this. So yeah, this thickness, cut a bit off the top, come down here, come across here, down a little bit, the electronics back up a bit for that, and then end it probably a bit further on, like that, up there and across the top. So I just need to saw, and then end. No problem. So I'm drawing it on here. So this is going to be this far ahead of that line there. That's going to run all the way across there, around the middle of the... Oh, hang on a minute, it's going to be in the middle. Oh, perhaps I do need this cut off washer after all. Huh. Perhaps I do need to use the cut off washer after all. Spookily in the right place. Yeah, because that needs to be basically cut into the... It would need to be cut into the wood otherwise. And this on the top of the little platform like that. Some space underneath it for the... Yeah. So that's going to be there. Wait, that doesn't look right. Oh, hang on. This is going to be right up against there. So I've got this, I happen to have this Gorilla wood glue, which is just as well, isn't it? I'm just going to apply it to here then. And fix this a bit. I just need to put some on here as well, because it's gone into 3 pieces, of course. You know, nothing straightforward, is it? I can't even finish drilling the hole. So that needs to go back, and ideally I need to clamp this together somehow. All right. Okay, is the Xbox controller. Just taking the screws out. Okay, now all the screws are out of it. It should just come apart fairly easily. Oh great, I just lost all the buttons, just came off it. Okay. Yeah, so just pull the motors out of the housing. Right, just want that out the way. Those buttons. Oh my god, I can't remember which way around they go. A, Y, B. Not sure which way they go. In there. That kind of looks right. Right, we just need to take these rubber pads off. Oh my god. They didn't really come out the last one. And what we want to do is use the Dremel to cut through the legs of this potentiometer rather than trying to unsolder this thing. It destroyed the last one, so we're not going to do that. We're going to Dremel cut this potentiometer, and then we're going to scrape away the pads for these to reveal the copper underneath, so we can solder to those. And likewise for the D-pad, we're going to keep those. And the analog stick, this one, we only really want this, because we all the pinball games use this for the pinball shooter, and that's what we're trying to simulate with the linear potentiometer. So we're just going to cut through the legs of this so that this is disconnected. The reason why we need to do that, and we can't just solder directly on, is because what happens is this measures the resistance. So you have like a resistive track that goes around in a circle, like a semicircle, and then the terminal in the middle is the bit that's being rotated across that track. And so what happens is the resistance between these two and these two is about 5 kilo ohms. And then as you sweep this across downwards, one of these will drop to almost 0, and the other one will go up to 10 kilo ohms. And the problem is that when you have resistors in parallel, so if I just soldered the alternative linear potentiometer onto these, then as I move those, it would still have the 5 kilo ohms of this not being moved, and resistors in parallel add by like 1 over the total resistance is equal to 1 over the resistance of this one plus 1 over the resistance of the one I'm doing, and that will actually give you a lower resistance than even the individual one. So that will be wrong. So we need to completely disconnect this. And as I said, unsoldering these is folly because they're surface mounted. They don't push through. On the expensive controllers, they sort of push through to the other side. But on these cheap ones, they're like surface soldered here. And if you're really not really careful, you can actually like tear through the pads, and the pads come off, and then you're kind of stuffed. At that point, you might as well just throw it away. So, which is what I've done with my first attempt. So we're going to do away with this potentiometer by dremeling it across through the legs rather than trying to unsolder it, and hopefully that will maintain it. But we will be scraping these off with a flat bladed screwdriver to get to the copper underneath, so that we can solder directly onto those, and likewise with those. And then we'll solder some wires to these two actual arcade buttons, which we'll put onto our project box. Likewise, for the bumpers, like R1 and L1, or LB and RB as it is on an Xbox controller, then we'll solder directly to these terminals and bypass this bumper switch with our side buttons for our pinball shooter to operate the bumpers. So yeah, we're just going to solder across, put a wire to that one, put a wire to that one, and away we go. We should be good, provided they don't touch each other. So we'll be careful doing that. We'll be quite careful. I don't know if I'm going to have to actually Dremel this off. I don't really want to necessarily have to do that, but I am going to have to Dremel through the potentiometer of the analog stick. I think because there's a, like if I zoom in on that, you can see. Yeah. So if I just cut through those legs carefully with the Dremel, then we won't have to unsolder, and we can just leave those tags there. So that's what we'll try and do. Should just be able to scrape away at these pads with a screwdriver blade. Let's see if I can do that. Probably not while holding the camera. expose the copper underneath. I'm trying to be pretty careful. That's probably not enough. We should be able to get to like shiny copper. Because solder will stick to shiny copper, but it won't stick to this stuff. Feels drastic, right? We'll carry on. Too late now. Committed now. There's no getting this controller back now. We've already cut through the potentiometer, so committed now. I'm expecting to see shiny metal though, so I don't think I'm there yet. Patience. Get in there. Not pressing too hard. Feels like doing a scratch card. Cleaned all of it off yet. But you get the idea. You get the, oh yeah, you can see it's coppery. Look, that's what we're looking for. A shiny coppery color underneath, and we can then solder onto that. Solder the wires onto that. So I need to do that for these other four, which I'll go and do now. Okay, so I think I've scraped most of the, the pad off each one of these, and so I should be able to tin them with some solder. Again, I just used a flat bladed screwdriver to scrape that stuff off. So let's try and see if that works. We can use our multimeter just to check that we got no resistance across this individual pad to make sure that is a conducting surface. But I think we should be fine. And if the solder sticks to it, you know you've done it right. Okay, so we've done those terribly, but we have done them. We can test to see if they work by running a jumping wire over these to make sure that they register as button presses on the computer. So let's do that. So if we just type USB and then go on to set up USB game controllers on the control panel, and then we see our Xbox 360 for Windows joysticks, so properties. Then we can see it testing, and what we can do is use a metal probe to jump across the terminals that we've just soldered. So if I jump across those, we should see button 1 being activated, and that means we've successfully done it. So if I jump across those, see button 1 activates. Hang on, let me show you. There you go, button 1. Button 1, that's X. A, is it A? A on this, X on a PlayStation, right? So that's worked. Just test the other ones. Supremely confident, but I don't know why. That one doesn't seem to be on. Oh no, 2. Yeah. There you go, button 2. Jump those 2, that's button 4. Jump these 2. Oh, is that one not working? I think that's button 3, right? Yeah, button 3. So I'm just jumping between those 2. So those have made good connections, and now I can test the D point of view D-pad. Oh, there we go. So I just jump those 2 at the bottom. It should show me a down arrow. Have those worked? Yeah. Did show me a down arrow. Just check them on the solder and not actually on just the pad. Gosh, it's so hard to do this. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I've got the mouse pointer over it, of course. Let's try left. Yep, try right. This one I'm least confident about. Looks like a blob of solder on the board. Oh yeah, even that one seems to be potentially working. I think that's working. And then the top one. Yes. Okay, so our soldering job is not as bad as it looks. It looks terrible. It looks really terrible, but those are actually making some kind of contact. So we just need to solder wires to those, put spade tags on the other end of the wires, and connect the spade tags to arcade buttons. And then we need to do the special inline resistor and 2 sides of the linear potentiometer to connect to this potentiometer that would have controlled this analog stick moving in the Y direction. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, I figured out what the strange behavior was, and I fixed the problem. What I didn't realize was that both ground and DTB are connected together on this linear potentiometer. So basically, the ground is one end of the rheostat or variable resistor, and DTB is connected together at the other end of the variable resistor, and the VCC is connected at the other end of the variable resistor, and DTB is the bit that's in between. So if you want to go from 0 to 5 kilo ohms on one, and from 5 to 10 on the other, you need to put a 4.7 kilo ohm resistor in between, and this is the way I've wired it up. So it goes VCC, which is this way, yeah. That goes to the bottom terminal on the joystick. So VCC to the bottom terminal. Wait. Yeah, pretty sure that's right. It doesn't help that they cross over. And then from ground to the 4.7 kilo ohm, and that goes to the top of the where the potentiometer would be for the stick. And then the middle wire, the red wire, goes to DTB on the linear potentiometer, and the result of that is that you get like this whole travel then becomes 5 to 0 kilo ohms for one, and 5 to 10 kilo ohms for this whole travel on the other, which is the same as like putting the stick down on that potentiometer which I've cut through. So we can see that. So at the top there, if I look at the here, you can see that it's not the wire rotation is static, and as I move it all the way to the bottom, you see it goes up to maximum, and there it is at the bottom. So it goes from 0 to maximum, which is exactly what I want for the pulling back the shooter for the pinball. And it's still 0 with a little bit of travel here because of the like the dead zone on the way it does it. So it's still 0 for that top part of the track. So it's absolutely perfect now for pulling back the shooter. Awesome. So we just need to like get the shooter connected to it then and see if it still works. So to reiterate what I think the circuit diagram is for the little linear variable resistor, the DTB connects to the middle of the is the thing that moves with the slider, right? But they're also connected together like this. So each one of these poles is also connected together. So DTB moves along with this. So when it's on the left hand side, this side is connected to ground. So from ground to DTB goes from 0 kilo ohms to 5 kilo ohms, right? And the reason why it's 5 kilo ohms and not 10, even though both of these are 10 kilo ohm resistors, is because they're in parallel, and resistors in parallel add up as to the reciprocal. So 1 over 10 kilo ohms plus 1 over 10 kilo ohms is the same as 1 over 5 kilo ohms, so you only get 5 kilo ohms. So that is why this goes from 0 to 5 kilo ohms as you go across here if you connect between ground and DTB. And then if you connect between VCC and DTB, then it goes from 5 kilo ohms to 0. Now, what we want on the potentiometer is for it to go from 5 kilo ohms to 0, as if we were pulling the stick down, because in the stick it's like 5 kilo ohms in the middle, and as you pull the stick down, one of them goes to 0 and the other one goes from 5 to 10. So what we want to do is have this go ground VCC to go from 5 to 0. So we just want VCC connected directly to one of the terminals of the potentiometer, and then DTB connected to the middle terminal, and then instead of connecting to ground, we put like a 4.7 kilo ohm resistor in between. And so the effect of that will be to go from 5 to 0 on one of them as we go to the right. This one will go from 5 kilo ohms to 0. So we'll connect to VCC and DTB, get from 5 to 0. So when it's at the left, it's 5, and then when it's on the right, it's 0. And then when it's on the other one, from going from ground to DTP, would go from 0 to 5, but we want it to go from 5 to 10. So we're going to put a 5k resistor in between. So this will read 5 when it's on the left-hand side, and then 10 when it's on the right-hand side. And so that's how I've done it. That's how I've done it. Yeah. So just to clarify, on this is the the thumbstick and the right-hand side potentiometer, which you've had to cut the legs off of, and the top one goes to a 4.7 kilo ohm resistor and then to ground. The middle one goes straight to DTB, and the bottom one has a wire that's connected to VCC, and that gives you the behavior you want. Okay, so I've got it in the box file box, and yeah, this works. This works. Excellent. How good does that look? That looks so good. Right, some further developments then. What I've discovered is that the outside of this switch here, which has a lovely, nice solder joint to hold the bumper onto the circuit board, is also connected to ground, right? So that means that you can have a common ground connection for all of the button presses, and you only need to solder connecting wires to the other end of the button. So you've got a nice stable place for your ground wires to connect to. That's this one. And then you only need to actually connect wires to the other side of the buttons. So for LB, left bumper, it's actually the right hand one, and for the right bumper it's actually the left hand terminal of the two. I don't know if you can really see that, but it is actually the left hand one, not the right hand one, that is soldered to. There are little terminals on the top of the switches, but they are too tiny to solder to. And then you can figure out which of the two terminals you need to solder to for the buttons, as the bottom one, the left hand one, for A and B. And you know, so and those are the ones that I'm doing right now. I'm only going to do 4 buttons, I think, right now, because they're like back and select, which I think are the main ones that you'd need for most pinball games. I don't know if I'll come back and do the other 2 buttons there, and I'm not sure what I'm doing about the D-pad, whether I'm going to do those at all, because everything has just become very fragile, and I don't know if I want to risk doing too much more soldering, but I want to get it into a working state first to see that it works. So yeah, that's the conclusion I've come to. The other ends of these wires I have crimped female spade tag connectors to connect to the arcade buttons that I'm going to use, and the common earth, I've got these spade doubling connectors, which look like this. So they've got like a female and 2 males. And then I'll connect all of them together to this one, and then make some female to female connectors that connect to each button. And I'm just doing that now. So cue the montage if there's there's not going to be a montage. Christmas tree. Okay, a couple more mods. A load of hot glue to stop those wires from coming undone. Some hot glue there to stop those wires from moving. Yeah, those are 2 soldered button positives, and the negative is still connected to there. They're all in the Christmas tree. We've got lots of connectors for the spade tags on the buttons, so we just need to drill some holes for the buttons either side for the flippers. Probably a bit further down, I don't know, like there. So they just need to be drill some 20mm holes, 22mm holes in the sides for those. They're probably gonna have to go. They're gonna have to go in even place, aren't they? So probably about there. Yeah, and then I can probably just get one in here, pretty close to the wooden part, probably quite close. Okay, let's just drill those holes in. Okay, so this is the video tour of the completed pinball controller. It gets a bit interesting over this side. So under this is the donor Xbox controller, the linear potentiometer and the pinball shooter, the buttons, which are just arcade buttons, and then this thing which is super glued onto the thumbstick, which is the security bolt that comes with a new washing machine. So yeah, you need to have kept those. The unobtainable security bolt from a washing machine. Anyway, so I've got these buttons connected to left bumper and right bumper. This is like A and B, I think. A and B on the Xbox controller, so you can change those. As I showed you before, there's a common ground connection, which is just to one side of one of the bumper buttons. What I didn't really show you was the support for the bottom of the Xbox controller. I've just used some screws here to go through the board and then to this, and this is screwed straight to that board. That board I've glued and screwed to the box. As far as these holes, you can drill those holes with like a 25mm wood drill bit, because this is about 5mm thick, but for the top, damage the top. trying to drill it, you shouldn't really drill it. You should use like a scalpel to cut the circles for the buttons, and then you end up with a much neater job, like what's happened around here. You can see there's no real scratches around those. So that was those were drilled, and these were draw around a circle and then scalpel through the top of the box, which is what I should have done for this, and then it would have had a nice neater finish. Perhaps I can get like a small plastic disc that I could fit over here. Probably can't now that I've glued that on. Now I've glued that on, I probably can't. But if I'd thought of that before, then perhaps I could have had that. You can still operate this. This is the device for achieving the tilt. So you can actually just shake the box to tilt the table, or you can use your thumb to just nudge the thumbstick. It's quite good. It's very sensitive because it's been given such a much longer line of travel, if you like. So yeah, so that's the finalized pinball controller. It does actually work. Which is astounding, really. So like so without the sound, because of possible copyright issues, you can see that as I pull this back, the on-screen shooter happens. So there you go, fixed, done. And you can do tilt the table. I've tilted it, look. I've tilted it with this tilt. So you can see it, like, if I yeah. It's all good. And with it being that much more sensitive, it's easier to try and like gauge skill shots with this. So that's quite good. Yeah. And it doesn't self-destroy, which is good. So it's in there, like moving the potentiometer and the and that 4.7 kilo ohm resistor. Yeah, and it's all fixed together on that lovely piece of wood. I carved it so expertly. Look at how expertly it's carved. Yeah, and so that's that. And that, yeah, so that's just on top of the existing cap for the thumbstick, just glued on with super glue. Yeah. So that's those. These arcade buttons. They come with a kit of arcade buttons and joysticks. This is effectively an analog joystick now. That's quite cool. It's quite cool. So probably in a flight simulator, you could even use that in a flight simulator, I suppose. But of course, the other thumbstick is completely disabled. You only got one axis in the other thumbstick now. But actually, half an axis, half of one of the axes is all you have. From the middle to the bottom, that's all you've got. So yeah, pinball controller into a box file. Yeah. Total cost then, the buttons I already had. Oh, the whole kit of buttons is about £25, and you'll get like 10 buttons, and like 2 joysticks. Oh, actually, I think it's twice as many. It's 2 joysticks, like 16, 18, 20 buttons. 2 joysticks, 20 buttons, and something for £25. But I'm really only using like 4 buttons of that. So that's this was about, on Amazon I found some cheap ones. There are some that are like priced at £18, but I got this for like 8. I think the Xbox controller, the cheapest Xbox controller on Amazon, was like £15. I don't know if I'd go a bit, if I could get a more expensive one. It probably wouldn't be quite so bad. Look what's happened here. I'll tell you what happened here. Right, one of the wires pulled the pad off, and I was like, oh my gosh. You know what? If you're doing this, you should solder the wires carefully to the pad, and as soon as you're happy that you have continuity between the pad and the end of the wire, you should just cover the whole thing in hot glue. so that it cannot move and pull out. So yeah, you should definitely do that. I highly recommend using the hot glue. I even like hot glued the wires like midway so that they can't get pulled from other parts of it. So yeah, if I was doing it again, I would use a scalpel to cut through the top and not use a drill. You can use a drill for the outside ones where it's thicker. I think I used a 25mm drill bit for those. I think I used a 22mm drill bit. You probably could have used a 20mm drill bit for this. 25mm drill bit for those. Use the plastic circle as a template to draw your circle, and then just cut through with a scalpel for those buttons. Should have used that template and cut through with a scalpel on the top here, and then we wouldn't have that bit of mess, which I'll probably have to Sharpie in to make it look less grim. And yeah, bits of melamine board to screw everything to, just relatively shaped. Some like self-drilling screws, about, I don't know, just about an inch long maybe. You need a packet of those. I'll probably show you the packet of those. Yeah, it was these. Yeah, they're about an inch long, aren't they? 25mm, 3mm by 25mm, turbo gold, single thread wood screws. These are great, really cool. They have like a cutting thread. You still want to like use a 2mm pilot hole first, but then these will actually cut in. They've actually got like a drill bit on each screw. They're really fast. Good screws. Recommend. So as is always the case with these things, you need a whole shed load of tools. So the bill of materials might not be that great, but the shed load of tools is where the problems start, isn't it? So you need like a drill, you need a 25mm drill bit for wood, you need like a 20mm drill bit for wood, you need a scalpel, you need some saws, wood saws, you need a bit of spare wood, you need a bit of 2x2 wood that you can cut. Yeah, you probably need like a, yeah. You see those lines I've cut through there? They're just so to allow the electronic connections to not be flat up against the wood there. I've actually tried to cut a slot here, so I used a multi-tool for that. So perhaps you need a multi-tool as well. Soldering iron, obviously, screwdriver. Yeah. Yeah, you need like a whole solder, clearly, flux, because like modern solders are rubbish, and you can't do any soldering without flux. So you need flux as well. Yeah. Oh, and a load of probably need one of those wire stripper devices and the crimping tool for spade tags, male and female. Some of those that Christmas tree has got like Christmas tree of spade tags. Yeah, you're gonna need those as well. You're gonna need all those things. So yeah, it's a whole number of things really. Yeah, so easy, and about 3 days. 3 days and an air full of swear words. Yeah, and you might need more than one of those controllers if you break it like I did. So yeah, try not to. And a glue gun. The glue gun, of course, and some glue sticks. Yeah, a bunch of components into a pinball controller for PC, USB, based on an Xbox controller. I haven't made a hole for the wire. I should probably make a little slot for the wire there. I haven't done that. That won't end up being neat, will it? So there's always more things to do. Also, I've done it again. I've left the vibration motors just loose, so they kind of rattle around in there. Really, they should be attached to something or like glued down. I should really have like hot glued those down, but I'm afraid that the hot glue is just going to melt through whatever this foam is. So I haven't done that yet. Or I could Dremel the other half of the controller body and glue it in. I probably should do that. I haven't done that because, of course, you just want to test things, don't you? You just want to play with it. You get it done, and you just want to play with it, don't you? That's what you want to do. So that's where we're at. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. I just wanted to play with it. Oh, this thing picks up fingerprints so badly. It's a shame. It's so shiny, but it really does pick up fingerprints. It looked so much better before I started. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Shiny black box. That'll look really smart. Yeah, until it's covered in greasy fingerprints. You can see I've been using it already. Anyway, I'll catch you all in the next video. This has been Caught for a Zombie. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a much more compact and bijou pinball controller than my previous effort. Still using the same kind of tech as far as that goes, but completely revamped and shrunk down and made better the tech for the shooter. So there's much more fine control, and then it can be a much smaller package. And that's really the innovation that's happened here. Unfortunately, it means that storing it like as a box file, which was like part of the aesthetic appeal. I mean, you still could. You can take this. You could pull that off and leave it in the box, and then it would still effectively go on a shelf as a box file. Maybe I should put some feet on one side so that you can stand it up. Maybe this side actually, without the wire coming through. The whole wire could just be like coiled up into the box. For storage, and then maybe if there were like feet, little rubber feet on this side, so it wasn't sitting on the button, then you could store it in on a shelf, and only the shooter bit would be sticking out. And this does come off obviously because it's not retained by the case of the Xbox controller, because the case has been removed. So yeah. Yeah, you will need a long screwdriver to get those screws out from the Xbox controller, actually. But yeah, and you will need one of these. I think you can buy these separately. I think you can. Like they're like the transportation nubbins the transportation bolts for a washing machine that hold the drum steady while it's being transported. And it's just good because it's a fairly light shaft, and then like a knobbly head on it, a knobbly head on there, which means it's got that bit of inertia, which means that you can just move the whole quote unquote pinball table and induce the control for tilt. And that's what you want. That's what you want. I'm still no good at this game. It's a learning process, isn't it? Anyway, yes. So that really is it. That is it for this video. I'll catch you all in the next one. But that has been how to make a pinball controller from a box file and an Xbox controller. Look at that. £4 for that. Who makes that? These are good box files. Yeah, Pukka box file. I don't think they ever envisaged that this would be what would happen to it. But yeah, I've already done that with already made another one into a trackball. So yeah, it could end up being like a series of like storable box file sized arcade controllers. I think that would be quite cool and neat. For like storing them, putting them away, rather than just leaving in the living room like they are now. Okay, yeah, I've rambled. I am rambling. Okay, I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers, bye.